Margaret left 8-year-old Luna alone in the dark forest. The blind girl clutched her worn rabbit and cried for help. But the cruel stepmother walked away without looking back. She thought Luna would never survive. She was wrong. The forest had other plans for the innocent child. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Margaret stared at the small girl sitting by the window. 8-year-old Luna held her old stuffed rabbit close to her chest. The toy was brown and worn with one ear missing. Luna's eyes were closed, but she was not sleeping. She had been blind since birth. I cannot stand this anymore, Margaret whispered to herself. This child is nothing but trouble. Margaret was Luna's stepmother. She had married Luna's father 2 years ago. When he died in an accident last winter, Margaret was left alone with Luna. She did not want this responsibility. She did not want to care for a blind child. Luna, Margaret called out in a harsh voice. Come here. We are going for a walk. Luna turned her head toward the sound. She smiled. Really? A walk in the forest? Yes. Put on your coat. We leave now. Luna felt excited. She loved the forest. She could hear the birds singing and feel the soft wind on her face. She could smell the flowers and touch the rough bark of the trees. The forest was full of wonderful things for her to discover. Margaret watched Luna struggle to put on her coat. The child moved slowly, feeling for the sleeves. Margaret did not help her. She just waited, tapping her foot on the floor. Hurry up, Margaret said. We do not have all day. Soon they were walking on the forest path. Luna held Margaret's hand. She trusted her stepmother completely. She believed Margaret cared for her, even though Margaret was often angry. Tell me about the trees, Luna said as they walked. Are they tall today? Margaret did not answer. She was thinking about her plan. Deep in the forest, far from any road or house, she would leave Luna alone. She would tell people that Luna got lost. No one would blame her. Everyone knew how difficult it was to watch a blind child. They walked for an hour. The path became narrow and wild. Margaret could barely see it now. This was perfect. This place was so far from everything. Luna would never find her way back. I am tired, Luna said. Can we rest? Yes, Margaret said. Sit here by this big tree. I will get some water from the stream. Luna sat down and hugged her stuffed rabbit. She listened to Margaret's footsteps moving away. The sounds grew quieter and quieter. Then she heard nothing at all. Luna waited for a long time. She called out, Margaret? Where are you? No answer came. She stood up and felt around with her hands. Where was the path? Everything felt the same, trees and bushes and rocks. She could not find the way they had come. Margaret! Luna called louder. Please come back. I cannot see. The forest was quiet. Only the wind in the trees answered her. Tears began to roll down Luna's cheeks. She was scared and alone. She sat back down by the tree and held her rabbit tight. Do not worry, Brownie, she whispered to her stuffed toy. Someone will find us. They have to. But deep in her heart, Luna began to understand. Margaret had left her here on purpose. Margaret did not want her anymore. The afternoon grew cold. Luna shivered in her thin coat. She was hungry and thirsty. She had never been alone like this before. Without her sight, everything seemed dangerous and scary. As night came, Luna heard new sounds. Owls hooting in the trees. Small animals moving through the leaves. Strange noises she could not identify. I am not afraid, Luna told herself. I am not afraid. But she was afraid. She was just a little girl, lost and alone in a big, dark forest. What Luna did not know was that the forest was watching her. The trees had seen Margaret's cruel act. They had heard Luna's cries. Nature itself felt angry about this heartless betrayal. The old oak tree where Luna sat began to whisper to the other trees. The wind carried the message through the forest. Animals lifted their heads and listened. Something special was happening. As Luna slept against the tree, wrapped in her thin coat, the forest began to protect her. The oak tree's roots grew slightly to make a softer place for her to rest. A family of rabbits brought her berries to eat. A deer led her to a small stream where she could drink fresh water. Luna woke up to the sound of birds singing right above her head. She felt something soft near her hand. She touched it carefully. It was a pile of berries. Who brought these? She wondered aloud. A gentle wind blew across her face as if the forest was answering her. For 3 days Luna lived in the forest. Each day food appeared near her. She learned to follow the sounds of water to find streams. She discovered that some trees had smooth bark that felt friendly, while others were rough and strong. Luna was still scared, but she began to feel something else too. The forest was not her enemy. The forest was helping her. Meanwhile, Margaret had returned to town. She told everyone that Luna had wandered away and gotten lost. She pretended to be very upset. "I only turned away for a moment," she lied. "When I looked back, she was gone. Poor little Luna. She cannot see where she is going." The townspeople felt sorry for Margaret. They organized search parties to look for Luna. But Margaret sent them to different parts of the forest, far away from where she had really left the child. At night, Margaret sat alone in her house. She should have felt happy. She was free now. She did not have to take care of a blind child anymore. She could live her own life. But Margaret did not feel happy. She felt strange and worried. She could not sleep well. She kept hearing sounds outside her window. Scratching sounds, tapping sounds. Sometimes she thought she heard Luna calling her name. "It is just my imagination," Margaret told herself. "I did the right thing. Luna will be better off without me." But the sounds continued. Every night Margaret heard them. She began to look tired and nervous. Her hands shook when she poured her tea. Her eyes darted around the room as if she expected to see something scary. In the forest, Luna was learning amazing things. Without her sight, her other senses had become very strong. She could hear a rabbit moving 20 feet away. She could smell rain coming hours before it arrived. She could feel the difference between an oak tree and a pine tree just by touching their bark. The animals of the forest had accepted her as one of them. A wise old owl would call to her when danger was near. A family of raccoons shared their food with her. A gentle doe showed her the safest places to sleep. Luna began to understand that she was not helpless. She was different, but she was not weak. The forest was teaching her to be strong and independent. One morning, Luna heard human voices in the distance. The search parties were getting closer to where she really was. "Help!" Luna called out. "I am here. Help me." A group of men found her sitting by a stream, looking healthy and calm. They were amazed. They had expected to find a frightened, sick child. Instead, Luna seemed peaceful and strong. "How did you survive out here for so long?" one of the men asked. Luna smiled. "The forest took care of me. It gave me food and water. It kept me safe." The men looked at each other. They did not understand how a blind child could survive alone in the wilderness. But Luna was clearly well and happy. When Luna returned to town, everyone was surprised to see how much she had changed. She walked straighter. She smiled more. She seemed confident and brave. Margaret pretended to be overjoyed. "My dear Luna, I was so worried about you." But Luna did not run to Margaret's arms like she used to. Instead, she stood quietly and listened. She had learned to hear the truth in people's voices. Margaret's voice did not sound happy or worried. It sounded guilty and afraid. "The forest taught me many things," Luna said softly. "It taught me to hear what people really mean when they speak." Margaret felt a chill run down her spine. Luna's words seemed to carry a warning. That night, the strange sounds outside Margaret's house grew louder. Scratching at the windows, tapping on the roof. The wind howled around the house like angry voices. Margaret could not sleep. She walked from room to room looking out the windows. In the moonlight, she thought she saw shapes moving in her garden. Were those animals? Or were they shadows playing tricks on her eyes? The next day, Luna spoke to the townspeople. She told them exactly what had happened. She described the long walk into the forest. She explained how Margaret had left her alone by the big tree. "Margaret did not lose me," Luna said in her quiet, clear voice. "She left me there on purpose. She wanted me to disappear." At first, people did not want to believe such a terrible thing. But Luna's story was detailed and true. She could describe every part of the journey, every turn in the path. One of the men from the search party spoke up. "Margaret told us to search in the north part of the forest. But we found Luna in the south, exactly where she said Margaret left her." Others began to remember strange things about Margaret's behavior. How she had seemed nervous instead of sad. How she had not wanted to join the search parties herself. How she had tried to send the searchers to the wrong places. The truth became clear. Margaret was not a grieving stepmother. She was a woman who had tried to abandon a helpless child in the wilderness. As the town turned against Margaret, the strange events at her house grew worse. Every night brought new terrors. Stones rolled across her roof. Her garden plants died overnight. Her water turned muddy. Her food spoiled before she could eat it. Margaret tried to leave town, but her horse refused to carry her. The animal reared up and ran away every time she approached. Even the town's dogs growled at her and backed away. She was trapped in a place where everyone knew what she had done. She was alone and frightened, just as she had made Luna feel. Margaret began to understand that this was her punishment. She had been cruel to an innocent child, and now she would experience the same fear and loneliness she had forced upon Luna. While Margaret suffered from her guilty conscience and the town's anger, Luna bloomed like a flower in spring. The forest had changed her from a helpless child into a confident young girl. The townspeople saw Luna's strength and wisdom. They asked her to help them with difficult problems. When someone lost something, Luna could find it by listening and feeling. When people argued, Luna could hear the truth in their words and help them make peace. A kind family in town asked Luna to come live with them. They had always wanted a daughter, and they saw how special Luna was. They did not see her blindness as a weakness. They saw her other gifts as treasures. Luna accepted their offer. For the first time in her life, she had a real family who loved her for who she was. Years passed. Luna grew into a wise and respected young woman. She became known throughout the region for her kindness and insight. People traveled from far away to ask for her advice. Margaret, meanwhile, became a bitter, lonely old woman. She lived alone in her house, feared and avoided by everyone. The guilt and shame had aged her quickly. She looked much older than her years. One day Margaret fell ill. She lay in her bed, weak and dying, with no one to care for her. In her final hours, she heard footsteps approaching her house. Luna entered the room, moving carefully but confidently. She had grown beautiful and strong. Her face showed peace and wisdom. "Why did you come?" Margaret whispered. "After what I did to you?" Luna sat beside the bed. "Because everyone deserves compassion, even those who have done wrong. I learned that from the forest. Nature can be harsh, but it is also forgiving." Margaret began to cry. "I am so sorry, Luna. I was cruel and heartless. I do not deserve your kindness." "You are right," Luna said gently. "You do not deserve it. That is what makes it a gift." Luna stayed with Margaret until the end. She held her hand and forgave her for the terrible things she had done. After Margaret died, Luna continued to help and heal people throughout her life. She married a good man who loved her wisdom and strength. They had children who learned from Luna's example how to be kind and brave. Luna never forgot her time in the forest. She would often return there to sit by the old oak tree where her journey had begun. She would thank the trees and animals for saving her and teaching her to save herself. The forest had taken a helpless, abandoned child and transformed her into a beacon of hope for others. What was meant to destroy her had instead revealed her true strength. Luna's story spread far and wide. People learned that cruelty and abandonment could not defeat a pure heart. They learned that even in the darkest forest, even in the deepest despair, light could still find a way to shine. And in that light, healing could begin.